Hello, my name is Jack Blade and welcome back to my channel. We're playing some Satisfactory today and we are doing specifically an updated version of the fluid dynamics video that I released like 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that. First of all, insane response to that video. I can't, like, it's incomparable. It's literally the most viewed video on my channel right now. However, literally the day after I released that, I was not happy with it and decided to do a update, but one, I wanted to let it rest and think things through and properly plan for this video. And on top of that, I wanted 1.0 to get to release and be out and stuff, so that there is a, like, it's calmed down a little bit, so that there's like a normalcy in the algorithm and I don't necessarily get like murdered by the fact that everyone's watching all the very, very large YouTubers covering Satisfactory. And that moment is now, so let's go. This video will have 2 parts to it, and I want to have some disclaimers here. First of all, if you are used to this game, if you've played this game before, if you know the base mechanics and numbers and stuff like that of the pipes and parts, I'm going to put a time code on screen there for you, so you can just skip to that if you're looking for specifically the flow rate issue fixes, bug fixes, and troubleshooting stuff that I'm going to have in the second part. The first part is going to be entirely about how the base parts work, and hopefully that will help people figure out how to build their pipes. Thank you so much for being here. Help out by share, like, comment, and everything. Help it reach as many people as possible, and I really, really hope this helped. Is it by any means the end-all be-all video out there on this matter? No. But the things that are in here, they help me solve problems, they've helped people I've helped solve problems, so hopefully it can help you too. Let's start with the parts. So you unlock pipes, these specifically, in the tier 3 coal power unlock. After you've sent away the space elevator the first time, you get these parts. And we're starting out with my pipeline Mark 1, being a Mark 1 pipe. It has a total capacity for 300 cubic meters per minute, which is a lot of water. However, you have alternatives to this. So this is what you unlock. In the Awesome Shop, you can unlock a clean version that doesn't have this indicator in the middle. And then the same thing when you unlock Pipeline Mark 2, this one. You also have the indicator, but you can unlock in the Awesome Shop a version that has no indicators. So depending on what you want, you can get that. The Mark 2 pipe can run 600 cubic meters per minute. There are, however, some inaccuracies with the Mark 2 pipeline when it comes to that flow rate, which is causing a little bit of issues. We'll talk about that later in the video. And then let's move on to the next part. I shouldn't have said next part because I meant next part of the video, not next part of the, like, what you can do with this. What we're looking at for the pipe specifically are build modes. So in the middle of the screen you can see it says build mode auto, and that has to do with how it bends. If I put a pipe like this, it automatically goes the shortest amount of space and everything. Like, it automatically detects how it needs to bend to make the cleanest bend possible. Is it going to be perfect? No. When you press R, you can switch that. Auto 2D works very badly vertically, but has a lot of benefits when you are making curves and stuff on a horizontal plane. Or if you start on the wall and you are working with the wall. No, that doesn't even work then. Okay, that used to work pre 1.0, it doesn't work anymore. Ignore that. Noodle is literally what it sounds like. Like, you will have a very soft bends, very like wet noodly pipes. If you're trying to avoid hard curves and stuff, then definitely noodle be the option for you. Then we have horizontal to vertical. This is specifically good if you're going to go up, like so. Meaning you get always perfect vertical pipes. Something to keep in mind when you are doing this, though, is that if you can see now, it went there and then up. If I have a like this here, and I remove the pipe. I'm just gonna show here very quickly. If I grab this pipe and go down now, it will go out. Oh, can you? Thank you. It will go out and then down, as you can see here. So if you want them tight, snug to the wall, you pull them from the downward and then up. If you want them to have more space and then go down from the wall, then you start from the top and you go out and then down. Essentially, that's what that means. And then, I think that's it. Yep, those are the build modes. And those are really, really good for like controlling the shape of your pipes so that they look exactly like you want them to. For the pipes, you also have the same rules as with the conveyor belts, where if you want to make a turn, you go 1, 2 back from where you want the turn to be, and go out, and you will automatically, this is noodle mode, so I'm gonna switch to auto there, and you will get your nice 90-degree turn. If you don't like this part, literally just remove it, and you will have a perfect 90-degree bend on your pipe. So that works exactly the same way as the conveyor belts. Now we're moving to the next actual physical part. Now we're looking at this, the conveyor pipeline junction. Oh, not conveyor, just the pipeline junction. Wrong name there. This part acts as both merger and splitter in the pipeline system, because pipes don't have a set direction. Just because you have an extractor here doesn't mean, like pulling out the water, doesn't mean that the water necessarily always flows in that direction. If you make mistakes, you can make it flow the other direction. So it's a merger and splitter. You can both merge and diverge from this point. That is the point of these. So you can have something that goes in like this and then splits off like so. And then on the other end, you can make it, oh, that was one too many, that merges like so. These are used by the same part. And they are very, very nice. You can place them on existing pipes to make them go vertically, or if you place them on a pipe, like so. If you click once, you just place it, right? However, if you press H and rotate... Oh, have they like changed that? Okay, they've changed that. Let's see. If I remember correctly, you should be able to... Yeah, exactly. If you just aim and rotate, you get this. If you hold control and have snap mode, you can also snap them to each other so that they end up aligned. So if I have one over here, then I want to align it with this. If I hold control, it will just snap. So you can see that it goes directly there. So I have it immediately across. Makes it a lot easier to pull straight pipes. So that's how the conveyor junction works. Let's move on to the next part. It's nighttime, or it's getting nighttime, so I'm going to use the torch here. But if we look at the pipeline Mark 1 and the pipeline Mark 2, the difference between them is how much headlift they can provide. Headlift being how high from the point of the last headlift that they can go. So if you have a pump here, and then you need to place another pump. If you're going vertically, you need to have another pump at a 20-meter altitude to get it to go up. An easy way of detecting if you have enough height on your, or if you have enough pumps, is if you have a pipe that goes in like so into a like vertical, like it's climbing. If I put in a pipe or a pump over here, now if I want to go up, I can see a blue band that it will snap to where it needs to be. This is also one of the things that I will cover later on in the video, so don't forget to check that out so that you know how to make sure that this works 100% flawlessly. But yeah, that's basically what you do. You go up. I tend to place them a little bit lower, and then I go up and I check, is there another blue band? Nope, there isn't. But just to be safe, just before I reach the top, I tend to place another one, and then I can go like this, and now I have 20 meters headlift because they reset. So even if this isn't like the max 20 meters from this point up until this point, once it hits here, it doesn't have whatever's left from this plus this. It's going to have only its own 20 meters. It resets headlift entirely. And then this does the same. So I have 20 meters on this point onward. So that's basically how I use those pumps. And that's how they function. The difference between the Mark 1 and Mark 2 pumps, aside from the Mark 2 pump using a little bit more power, it also doubles the headlift. It has a total of 50 meters, so it has, or more than doubles. It's actually a 150% increase over the Mark 1. So this is a definitive upgrade when dealing with pumps, because you want to have as few of them as possible in your systems. Now, let's move on to our next part. Oh yes, before we do it, sorry. We do need to power these. If you don't power them, water will flow through them, but they won't actually add headlift. They do still reset it, however. So they do reset the headlift, but they don't add to headlift if they're not powered. That it can be used as an early game valve to make sure that they don't, like, you don't get water that flows through and then hits something over here and then goes back. Like it will be functioning as a effective, like, one-way valve. Okay? With that, let's move on. Next part are these two. We're talking about the fluid buffer and the industrial fluid buffer. The only difference between the two is the size. Or volume. They can hold 400 cubic meters in the normal fluid buffer, and it can hold 2,400 in the industrial fluid buffer. The use cases for these are, like, I think, confusing, because a lot of people think that, oh yeah, these are great so that I can stock up a bunch of liquid and stuff like that. Yes, you can do that, but it can cause more problems than help to have this. What these are good for is to stabilize an unstable system that is very sensitive. So for example, if you have a machine that is not 100% effective and it's starting up and slowing down and starting up and slowing down, for example, the water extractor that we will talk about later, but you need to have a stable flow, then a really good thing to have is a fluid buffer that you have maxed out, or at least like gotten up to a very high amount. So say out of the 400 cubic meters, there's a 300 cubic meters like buffer in here. So that while the water extractor or the refinery or whatever you're using it for is spinning up, you already have water in the system that can flow, and that will help. A very good thing to have there is either the pump or the valve to prevent like backflow, because these are a progenitor of all backflows in pipes, causing so much flow rate problems. So when you use these, essentially only do that when you are perfectly well aware exactly how they work, and experiment with them. And I will talk a little bit about them later in the second half of this video. And then we move on to the next parts. Now we're talking about this little boy. This is the valve, which you unlock once you start getting into oil processing and you have sent away and finished phase 2 of the space elevator. What you get here is a valve. It prevents any backflow. Once it goes in here and out on this side, it will not be able to flow back. You will also be able to control the flow rate. So by setting the number here for whatever you want, you will then control how much fluid can flow through this point. Once again, the more points you have on a pipe, the more failure points you have. The more uniform and not touched a pipe is, the better. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So the more valves you have, the more failure points you have. So if you're using valves, be careful and make sure that you watch the second half of the video, because I will tell you how to make them function without them breaking your system. So valves are super important. Remember that you're gonna need, I think it's either plastic or rubber to build these as well. So you're gonna have to get into some oil processing to make them, or buy them in the awesome shop. With that said, let's move on. Here we have the water extractor. They are incredibly important for your game, but they are not the only thing that works with extracting liquids. So with this, we have something that can draw 120 cubic meters per minute by default. However, if you overclock, you can drag that all the way up to 300 cubic meters per minute. And they also buffer inside themselves, 200 meters, cubic meters. So they do, and they also provide a 10-meter head lift from the starting point, like from here. And then it goes like 10 meters up, which is like, if I place 10 meters, so you have a like sense of how high that is. This is 10 meters, and if I hold that next to it, so you can see it's slightly above half of the like spin wheel in the middle and the pump wheel in the middle. So you don't have that much of a like head lift based off of your what's it called, water extractor. Then we have different extractors. I'm gonna show them. We have on top of the water extractor, you can have the oil extractor, which you place on oil nodes to extract oil. And then once you get to, I think it's tier 7 or tier 8, you get the resource well pressurizer, which you use on, like, you will see this like almost cracks in the ground. You have like one central crack, and then you have smaller like nodes that cracks out from that center. So you have one center, and then it goes like do, 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 and then you have another one, and then do, 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 and then you have another one, and then yeah, it goes like that around the whole thing. Those are wells, resource wells, and you use these to pressurize them, and then you extract from the center, and then the like arm nodes you place the well extractors on, and they will pull out what you need, and you will use pipes like normal to just like with these two from there. So yeah, exactly how it sounds. Now, those are the ways that you can extract all the liquids. Now the question is, how can you organize your logistics? So let's get into that. On top of the normal, like when you place a pipe, you automatically get the pipe support, where if you click once, you still haven't placed it, but you can change the height. And then when you click again, you place them down. These are the pipeline supports. They are the only things you can place that has that function. These, the pipeline, stackable pipeline support, they are click once in place. You can stack them on top of each other though, so it's easy to like bundle up pipe when you move them through a longer like pipeline bus or something like that. When you are moving things like up and down in logistics floor or on the sides of buildings and whatever, these might tempt you. The floor hole, wall hole, and the pipeline wall support. The pipeline wall support you can also place on the ceiling. Pipeline wall support, while they look like the pipeline support, does not have the ability to change. When you click, you just place it. You won't have the option you do with these. You click once and then change height. That does not work. So, sad to say, that would be a great function, but we don't have it. Then we have floor holes, which creates the ability to basically take a pipe and run it from here, and there will automatically be a hole throughout the entire foundation, and there will be an exit on the other side. That way you can have a nice pipe going through without it clipping through. However, these are incredibly buggy and have a lot of problems, and the same thing goes for the wall hole. So use with caution and make sure to check the second half of the video where I talk a little bit about how you can troubleshoot and make sure that they work and like make them work. So if you really want to use them, check that out. Now we're gonna move on from here. Like you can use these just like you can use anything else that you use with the conveyors. So I'm gonna leave you to experiment with your spaghetti and figure out how you want it. I'm gonna show you some stuff in the second half of the video as well for how I've applied them. So yeah, well, let's move on. Then we have the packager. Once you hit oil processing and stuff, you will be able to get the liquid packager. You can only flush these. You can flush this fluid buffer specifically or the full pipe network and get rid of liquids that way and delete them. But that's not for all liquids, that's not for all materials. Sometimes you need to package them first. For example, you can turn it into packaged water using canisters, and then you can send that into a sink. Or you can transport them on conveyor belts or in trains and stuff like that without having to, how should I put this, resort to 50-mile-long pipelines that might or might not work. So this is a very easy way of managing, and you can recycle, so you can have one package system that package the water like this, So you send in the liquid and the canisters. Let me see. So here, the canisters are going in here, right? The liquids are going in. I'm just grabbing a pipe here. Are going in here, and then on the other end, you're sending the water, like so. No liquids in between, right? And then on the other end, you make it so that the liquid comes out. Now it is where you want it to be, but you still have the canister as a byproduct. Like you can recycle that by doing this. Let's go straight mode. And then head on over here. So you can have a closed system where you use the same ones over and over and over again, as long as you're not burning them somehow. For example, if you put, I don't remember which ones, but there are some recipes that actually like use up the canister. Those systems need to be fed new canisters over time, at least a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind, that you can use packagers like this, and you can package pretty much everything, and you can package and unpackage. So have all the package up here, unpackaged down here. And you have two different canisters, so you have the empty canister, and then you have the liquid, like fuel tank or liquid tank, empty tank kind of thing. The empty tank you make with aluminium, so it's quite late game. At that point, it's gonna feel like, yeah, that's just making another box. That's no problem. That's not anything that I need to go through with you guys. And on that note, I have one final thing to talk about, which is liquids and gases. What is the difference? There is only one difference between the two, and that is that the gas don't need headlift. It doesn't give a crap about headlift. That's the only thing that you need to know. That's the difference, which makes it so much easier to move around, because you don't have to think about like verticality. You can just move them wherever you want. That's the last part for that. I have a single final note before we move into part 2. So let's go and check that out. Final bit. So what resets headlifts? Which you get from the pump, right? So this is a 50 meter, like it's a Mark II pump. It has 50 meters. There's not 50 meters here. There's 12. So this will easily lift the water up, and it will go into this refinery. And the thing is, this refinery does not save the headlift for whatever liquid is coming out. So once it comes out, headlift is this. Headlift is like where this exit is, which means that you won't be able to send this up. If you want to be able to send that up, you got to add a pump, so you get the headlift. Now, this will be able to lift. Okay? So that's something to keep in mind, that the second you put in a machine, no matter how much headlift you have, water towers, and everything else we'll talk about later, no matter how much you do it, like the second you plug a line into that machine, the output will have no headlift, and you need to add that yourself. So, with that said, I'm done with part 1. You should have a somewhat understanding of how all these parts work, and be able to use them. So, let's get into how to make the system actually work. Alright, so everyone who has problems with their pipelines and making them work, I hope you're listening now, because that's the second part of the video. And I don't know how long the video is going to be. I don't really care. For me, it's just super important that this gets out there and that people can use this to their advantage and make things run smoothly. So we're in my Ultimate Let's Play world, but on a earlier save where I had pipeline issues. Like, I couldn't make the water flow. As you can see, the water, the machines are on. There's water in these pipes, but if you look here, there's no water. What's happening? So I want to talk to you guys about how to make pipelines work. And step number 1 is replace your pipes. I don't mean all of your pipes. I am talking about where you have put in pumps, junctions, and stuff like that on existing pipes. So if you look at this pipe, you can see that there is an orange outline for where the pipe is and where it's going to be removed. And If we go to the other side of this, we have another side of the pipe. If I mark both of them, you can see that it is highlighted as a single pipe. If I remove this pipe, this pump, what will happen is the game pretty much goes like, this is now a single pipe. It will merge these pipes again. And that happens because it still remembers, the game still remembers it as one pipe. And it kind of flips between being a pipe and having a pump. So it can't really decide. So it's going like, no, we're going flow rate going through pipe here. No, flowing rate going through pump. And it's just like shifting back and forth, and it causes throttling in the pipes. That's a massive issue, and an easy way to fix this is by, like I said, take your pipes out, like this, and then go put them back in. Let's grab the right build mode here. Double check that it is a nice line. Yep. And then add back in. As you can see here, now these are two separate pipes entirely. If I took out this pump, there would be a hole here. They wouldn't be able to merge. This is how you solve this problem. And this is what I'm doing with literally all of these. Just that. For my save, I took out every single pipe here, and I fixed this with every single pump all over, because this is the truth for every single pump I have in this system, where they are considered a single pipe, and that's just like a mistake I made, and I have to fix that on down here. Up here is like, you have to do this to get the pumps to go vertically. So that's something that I just have to like reconcile, that that's how I guarantee that that's not a problem. With that said, you need to do this with junctions, valves, pumps, anything that you're placing in that splits the pipe, so to speak. The junction splits the pipe, the pump splits the pipe, the valve splits the pipe. So, as much as possible, make sure that you do this so that you can guarantee that there is no throttling problems happening in that split over here in the middle. And then let's move on to the next thing that I need to fix. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. For those who have started messing around with Mark II pipes, I don't have that unlocked in this world, but I have used them extensively, and I very rarely have any problems with them. What causes the so-called, the famous Mark II pipe bug? It doesn't, like, is it hard to use? Is it needlessly complicated? Is it messed up? Yes. Is it necessarily a bug? No. It has to do with how the fluid and flow rates are calculated in the pipes in Satisfactory. They're using floating point head numbers, something like that. I don't remember exactly what it's called. I'm not a programmer. But what it means is that the further away from 0 or 1 this gets, the more inaccurate the number gets. So with these pipes having a maximum amount of 300, they are close enough to the origin point, the origin like calculation point, that there is very, very small or completely non-existent like miscalculations or like inaccuracies that happens. But for a Mark II belt or Mark II pipe, you get what is it called, 600 cubic meters per minute, and that is a number that is like big enough that you can get some inaccuracies, which means that if you require a system to run at like 100% efficiency, you might run into problems because the pipes aren't 100% accurate. So when you're using Mark II pipes, what you need to do, and this is like sadly just down to how the game is programmed, what you need to do is like take one of your machines, that your extractors, and get them up to a little bit higher. So if you have a full pipe, plug in a new pipe with just a little bit mid down the pipe, like saturate extra, or remove one of your machines. Like if you're running a line with 18 refineries, run it with 17 instead, or downclock the 18th refinery to 95%, so that you can make that work. Like that's just the nature of the game, and it really sucks. And some people, they don't have this issue. I am very happy for you, and I can't speak to the people that like have played the game for years and have thousands of hours and they never have a flow rate issue. I don't know how you do it, but like most people, they do experience Mark II flow rate issues specifically, and that comes down to a inaccuracy with the calculation. And you can create more points of failure the more pipes or more like pipe sections you have. So this is one pipe section, but if I in this pipe section have like a bunch of like manifolds like this, right? Then I have like a bunch of pipe sections, and each of these needs to be calculated separately how much water is flowing through it, which means that this has that same inaccuracy, this has that same inaccuracy, this, and that kind of propagates. Because if this one only has like 99.9% of the flow rate, then this one is just going to calculate and be inaccurate based on the calculation of that 99.8. So it's just like it gets more and more inaccurate the more it has to calculate with the base number it calculates from also being inaccurate. So it like propagates the longer the lines are. So shorten your lines. Don't have 50 machines on one like manifold. Definitely just like run so you have maybe 10 machines on a manifold, 12 machines on a manifold, and then make more, like separate the lines more instead. Don't try, like if you have a turbo fuel setup that can run 600, why are you gathering that up in one pipe? Separate that down and have it in two pipes that is Mark 1s instead to keep it accurate. Like as much as possible, avoid it by working with the mechanics instead of what sadly I have experienced is people just being salty about it not working, it being bugged. And yes, there are problems. There are some bugs. I have experienced them. I'm going to go through some of that. But when it comes to the Mark II pipes, it's likely that they feel worse because of one, the inaccuracies with how the flow rate is calculated and the volume and stuff is calculated. Two, when it is also being throttled by mistakes like what I showed you first, with the pipes being like causing problems like this. If that is causing some throttling issues, if you have water hammering in your system or liquid hammering in your systems, if you have like whatever other problems, it gets exacerbated and gets worse because of the instabilities with the Mark II pipe. So as much as possible, don't use the Mark II pipe. If you can, split it up and use the Mark I pipe. The one place that I can tell, like I can like just think that is like, okay, this is a problem where you have to use the Mark II pipe, but there's also like a very easy solution to that. That is a fully overclocked nuclear generator. It needs 600 meters or cubic meters of water per minute, but that also means that you don't have a bunch of splits on it. You don't have a bunch of junctions and stuff like that. You literally just have one pipe running from two overclocked water extractors straight into the system, okay? So you don't have that problem. And if it's really a problem at that point, downclock. Don't go for the 250%, go for 245% like usage of the power generators instead. Like, don't, like, yes, the game, you'd think it would be perfect to just use the like, yes, I should be able to overclock it to 250%. I agree with you 100%. Now, however, right now that is not an option, and you can be salty about it, or you can just go take a deep breath. Okay, this doesn't work right now, but here's a workaround, and I'm going to use that until this is fixed, if it gets fixed. Otherwise, if it's too much, honestly, move on to a different game, use mods, whatever you want. Like, I don't really care. I'm honestly just kind of tired of people coming and saying, like, their XYZ doesn't work, when in reality, it's, one, you being stubborn, two, like, it's a skill issue. Honestly, like, I don't want to be crass, but it's a skill issue. If, like, you know the game and you don't have issues everywhere else but here, and other people can make it work, I can make it work consistently, and you can't, it's because you're stubborn and refuse to apply a solution. that is there. You don't want to learn. And I'm sorry, I can't help you. The video is for people who want to get help. So I'm gonna continue before I get too salty, and I'm gonna get into this. I mentioned before how longer pipes equals less issues. And one of the methods that I am using to prevent issues is by merging pipes. I take out whatever's in the way, like so, and I grab a pump or something like that. I don't even know if it's gonna work on this because there is a split here in the middle, like a bend in the pipe. We'll see. But essentially, if you look at this, you can see exactly where the split is. It's on this marker here. So if I take a pump and I place it exactly where that is, right? So, oh, someone's angry. Thank you. Be not angry with me. I'm doing a tutorial over here. Are you just angry because you're having Mark II pipe issues? You can go have them over somewhere else. So, let's get back to this. Over here, if I now remove this, boom, this now counts as a single belt. This is a great way to make sure that you get fewer individual belt section, or belt, why do I keep saying belt? Pipe sections. So this is a great way of ensuring, so even if you've put in like bends and stuff like that, if you manage to put a pump, or sometimes a junction also works, you can merge your pipes. So that's a great way of figuring out how to make your pipes have less sections and be a little bit longer and have less issues. With that said, we have more to go through. When messing about with Headlift, you can get a lot of issues specifically related to the pumps and the headlifts not working as they should, or not lifting as high as they should, or like resetting headlifts and stuff like that. So one of the things that I do to avoid a bunch of problems is I put in these water towers. As you can see, this massive pipeline bus that I have here going into my coal power plant, that you can see in my Ultimate Let's Play, how I built and what it does and everything. This entire section has no pumps. All of this needs no pumps because this point, where they start going down, is where the headlift, like baseline, is at. Which means that I don't need headlift. The headlift doesn't go like, hey, I need 1 meter of headlift until I'm a meter above this section. Until then, I am safe. So these all have all the headlift they need, not from the pumps over there, but from the fact that they have been this high before hitting a machine, a pump, or anything else that might reset the headlift. So with this said, putting in like a water tower where you literally just take the pipes, pull them up above, and then pull them in like into your factory and start building from the top down. So you put your first machine, like if you don't put your refineries at the bottom floor, right? Put them at the top floor where you have all the liquids coming in, and you put all the normal like assemblers and foundries and constructors and smelters and stuff like that. You put them on the bottom floor because they don't have to deal with liquids. So that's something that's really important to keep in mind when you are dealing with specifically like headlift and using water towers. Come in from the top of your factory, use a water tower of some kind. There are some glitched ones out there. I'm not gonna go through them. I'm not gonna teach how to glitch the game. I'm gonna teach how to play the game. So over here, I have no pumps. I have other problems that like prevents the flow rate from happening right now, but I don't need any pumps to make this work. And it's looking damn good, if I might say so myself. So in the defense, I should say, of the people that are like shouting bug, there's a bug, yes, and here's where they are at. They are here and in the wall hole, and they are here in the floor hole. And you will notice whether or not a floor hole or wall hole doesn't work simply by going, hey, is there water here? Yes. Is there not water here? Okay, there is no water here. That's a problem. That needs to be fixed. How do I fix that? And quite simply, you fix that by removing the entire section, both the pipe above, the floor hole, the pipe under, the pipe before, the wall hole, and the pipe after, and you replace that section entirely. Only way I know of how to fix that problem, and it is how you then get the flow to work with the pipe hole. The best solution, especially when you're dealing with blueprints, like for example a blueprint that has like 10, 12 pipes on it, where you don't want to necessarily replace 10, 12 pipes on every single blueprint you place, don't attach the pipe to this. Instead, what you do is you go, and I'm just gonna place in a small vertical, there. I'm gonna place a little bit there. Instead, what you do with your floor hole is you don't place it in when you start. Instead, what you do is you go with the pipe. Oh, wrong direction. There we go. I need to be smart about this, okay? So don't shoot me yet. But if I take this and I say I want to go down here, and I want the pipe hole to be in the middle. There we go. Or like somewhere close to the middle. There we go. Now, if I really want a pipe hole to be there aesthetically, I can put it here, go into nudge mode, and place it in. It has no functionality. It's not actually connecting to the pipes, because the pipe is one single section, but there is the visual effect of the pipe hole. That's how you do it. Avoid the problems with the pipe hole. If you really want them in there, go ahead. I have put them here for visual aesthetics, and they function in this case. So keep that in mind, that if you have problems, the first thing to look at is your pipe holes actually connecting, and can you do something to replace them or remove them from your design, then do so. They are bugged. They should have been fixed for 1.0. Same thing with the wall holes. They don't. There are still some problems. The fix doesn't work for everyone. And as you can see here, sometimes you just get this glitch in general, because on this pipe, like I have water here, right? And I don't have any water here, which is why even if I'm going to use a design that uses the clean design with no indicators, a really good visual indication is like, that one is full of water. You can tell. But this one is closed, which means that there's nothing in the pipe. So for this to function, I need to replace this pipe. Okay? You can see? Now it functions. That's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Like, no problem. Now, we have some more stuff to go through. There's a lot of troubleshooting. And I'm gonna, like, finish off tying this up with, like, how do you apply this as a methodology kind of thing when you solve problems in your pipelines. So let's move to the next one. Okay, so this one I had to tell myself literally 2 days ago when I was building this. When I was building my coal power plant, I had to tell myself, like, what are you doing? Keep it simple, stupid. And I'm calling myself stupid, not you guys. I literally have a doggo named Jack is Dum Dum because I keep doing this stuff. If you have a simple system, there are less failure points. Less failure points means less potential problems. So in this example, I have 32 coal generators in this power plant, which means that if you know how to build the beginner level power plant, you have 3 pipes coming in with 120 each, right? For a section of 8 coal generators. And you put one pipe at the end, you put one pipe in the middle, and one pipe at the end. Or the other end. That way, they are perfectly balanced, like Thanos would be so proud, and you get all the water you need for all the machines, constantly they are running stable. Easy peasy. However, my dumbass went out and I built a bus, pipeline bus, that has 10 pipes on it. You see my problem? Right? If you have 32 generators, sectioned up in 4 sections of 8, and you have 10 pipes, it has all the water, like, mind you, like 10 pipes has the water I need for the system. But I don't have the logistics for it. I would have to create a complex liquid balancing system down here that like overflows when one of the sections is full and blah blah blah. Why? Instead, it took literally 20 minutes to run an extra 2 pipes over here with the water needed to create the exact same system. All I had to do, which because I'm using overclocking in the generators, if we look in the generators, they are overclocked at 200%. I just need twice the amount of water, which means instead of 3 generators doing 120 each, I just have 3 generators doing 240 each. I just need 30 coal per minute for each machine instead of 15. That's the difference, and I have the belts and I have the pipes for it. Why am I not doing that? Keep it simple. Less failure points equals way easier time dealing with liquids. If you think, oh no, I need to make blah blah blah, like, number one, start thinking, how do I make this simple? How do I simplify this? And if you need help, I'm a very simple person. I will be a dum-dum every day of the week. But when it comes to helping others, I very rarely make these same mistakes. It's like all the competence I have is like saved for you guys, and I keep none of it for myself. But either way, I will help. I'm in the Discord, link in the description. If you want to come over and like ask, you can, like, if you have a video or pictures of your broken system that doesn't work, I will even, if possible, if I have time and energy, and like I have chronic migraines, so I have migraines pretty much constantly. If I don't have that messing with me, I will do everything I can to help. And if I can't help, there are people in the Discord that are becoming pros at fixing their own pipelines and stuff like that. So you can definitely get help by showing up in my Discord. As long as you're open to going, oh, I've learned something new, instead of going, nuh-uh, it's a bug. Like, if that's the case, like, you don't want any help, you just want to be right. And that's not helpful to either. It's not helpful to you, us, or like constructive in any way, shape, or form. So let's see each other in the Discord, and I will do everything I can, and so will other people, and they have time and energy to help you fix your like fluid systems. Now, I have one final, and this is a big one. This is the methodology in and of itself. How to actually apply all of this. So, the methodology in and of itself is that when you're dealing with more than one pipeline for a larger system, and you're dealing with like different sections where you have like the base like source, like this, that goes in and then it hits a machine, and then it has to go out on the other side and into a different machine, and then it comes out with more byproducts. All of that, this is super, super important. So really, really pay attention. When dealing with more than one pipeline for a larger system, don't try to work in parallel. Efficiency, and this is something that I struggle with myself, because this is what you learn, especially I've worked as a chef, I've worked in kitchens, and there you pretty much do, like, if I'm gonna cut, I'm making 50 dishes, and I need 1 onion for each plate, I'm not going to, or half, and that's a lot of onion for a plate, but if I have a onion per plate, if I make each plate and I do the onion, and I then move on to the next part and the next part, then I have to go back and do more onion, that's super inefficient. You do all the onions, you do 50 onions, and then you move on. That works, but not here. Well, not when you're troubleshooting. You take one set, okay, here's a problem. Fix this, right? I'm not gonna look at the others. I'm not gonna look at the other pipes. I'm just gonna fix this problem here, okay? And then I'm following this pipeline. I'm going, okay, I have flow rate, I hit a pump. I have not fixed it over here. Okay, so let's fix that part, right? And then up here. Okay, now I can move up here. Okay, I have this. Am I getting flow rate? Is it working? That pump is working, it's going up. There's a floor hole, right? But as you can see, it is not connected to the next part, so it's still not going to get a flow rate. So this pipe hole, bad. This pipe hole, nuh-uh, don't want you. Get out, right? Then connect to the next pump. Can I see, is the water coming up? Is the pump turning on? Yep, pump is coming on. It's going up. I can see water is going. Okay, here we have the next problem. Okay, that's coming on. And I keep doing this throughout the entire system. Find each problem on one pipeline, fix that on one line, on one section of your factory, then replicate that solution to the other parts. Okay? So in my case, I just need to get rid of the floor holes, because if you look here, it's not connected to either one of these. If I remove these, if I remove the floor hole, nothing happens. This is bullshit. So I need to fix this. I need to also switch out this pipe, because it is going into the machine, right? We don't want that. We want it to be safe and secure so we don't get any throttling. So I need to switch out. Let's go up here. That is now switched out. There's another floor hole here. Let's see. That one is just connected with the top one, not with this pipe. So let's fix that. And boom. With this, ta-da! This pipeline now works. Now that I know exactly where all the issues is on a pipeline, on this one specifically, now I can go back and I can start with the next one. And then I do the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Now, one massive problem that I have over here is that the pipes are so tightly stacked that the massive first problem that I need to deal with is I need to do this. With the specific reason, I need to be able to get to the back pipes. So that's number one. I need to fix these first, and then I can apply that solution as I keep building up the pipes on the outside sections. Okay? And don't be afraid to do this. Take the time. Don't rush. If you're like, oh, I gotta fix this. Do you have anywhere to be? Like, are you in a rush? Do you need to report to your project manager or for Fix-It so that you have a certain amount of progress? Is Snoot hanging over your shoulder, trying to go like, no, why aren't you at phase 5 yet? Where's the 1.0 content? Do it now. Like, they're not. You don't have any rush. Just chill. Take a deep breath. If you don't like putting in logistics, I got a question: why are you playing the game? Because this is a game entirely about logistics and automation, and like this is the game. So this, like, take your time. And most of the time when you feel stressed and you feel annoyed or irritated that you have to go back and fix something, it's because you feel time pressure. You want to be time efficient or space efficient rather than efficient, like making your enjoyment of the game efficient. If that makes sense. I very much love this game. I love the community of players. Like, neither the game nor the community nor I'm perfect. Like, I've probably missed stuff. I've probably made mistakes. I probably misspoke. I was probably a little bit salty about the Mark II bug and how people are reacting to it, or dealing with it rather. Like, I can't say anything about that other than I'm working on myself too. But with this methodology, and you can apply this to literally any part, any logistics system that you're building in the game, not just the pipelines. You can do this with the conveyors too. If you do this, you will solve your problems. If you can't figure out what it is, head on over to Discord. Like, send me a save file. I might even do a series called like Fixing Your Flow Rate or something like that, where I on stream load up people's saves, and I'm like Dr. Pipe. That sounds like a porn star name, but like I do like that kind of stuff. That might be fun. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, I hope that this stuff has helped you. I hope that you will be able to build your pipelines the way you want to. I hope that you can solve the ones that you have that doesn't work. And I think that there's like a combination here. If you've watched this video and you feel like, oh, I don't want to, annoying, I don't want to, I very much recommend go check out my 4+ tip on how to enjoy Satisfactory. There are some really good tips in there. People have been really positive about that video and the help it's gotten. Some people have said like it's straight up life advice. I don't know. For them, probably. I'm not gonna discredit that, and I very much hope that they can take whatever value they can out of that video. But I'm gonna put it as a card in the top right corner. So if you wanna go check out that video, go right ahead. And it might be that you just need to take a break from the game. So I will see you guys in the next video. There has been some scheduling changes, as you might know. I no longer release 2 Let's Play videos per week. I release 1. So this comes out on a Tuesday. On Thursday, where I would normally release a Let's Play episode, I will release another tips and tricks video. On top of that, I will no longer be streaming on Tuesdays. I used to have a short 2-hour stream on Tuesdays. I will no longer have that. Instead, I will have a 4-hour stream on Fridays with random games. And if you want to suggest games and vote, and you can always suggest games, of course, but being able to vote on which one I actually play, become a YouTube member down in the description, or a Patreon, also link in the description. And I will rename Doggo after you. I have 10 doggos over there. There are like 4 or 5 that needs new names. So do that. And I will also have you in my Hall of Legends down here, where I commemorate everyone who helps out. And the goal, of course, for this series is to cover the entire inside with signs commemorating all of my supporters. And I really hope that you're going to be one of them. With that said, this video is done. Love you guys. Once again, sorry for being a little bit salty about the Mark II bug there. I really hope that you can take something away from this video and that it solves your problem. The old video is, in my opinion, obsolete, so you can just like go ahead and skip that if you were planning on watching it after this. I might say some stuff in there that, like, at this point are objectively wrong. They were probably objectively wrong back then too. I have just learned more. So I hope that this helps, and I hope that you guys have a really good time, and see you guys in the next video. Bye!